Well, hello everybody and welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Terrible Tuesday. In the last episode we took a look at Seeking paired with the Thievel from Pitch Black, and today we have another Pitch Black card because Pitch Black gave us some quite fun cards to actually work with for this series. But of course it won't just be a case of we're only doing, Pitch Black cards, because I think this is the last one that I built a deck around. But yeah, I think I've cooked with this one. So, of course, today we're going to be taking a look at Pitch Black's Vikavolt, or Vikavolt, whatever you want to call it. I'll refer to it as Vikavolt throughout the video, though. So, as per usual, in the description below, there's going to be usual links. Double the deck list, which is also available to come in the description below. There's the games that we'll play, and, of course, the outro and what I think of the deck. So, of course, today we're going to be taking a look at the Stage 2 Vikavolt, which is a pretty alright card, But, obviously, it is quite awkward because of its second attack, which is why it's in this series. So, of course, we have two attacks here. We have Quick Dive for 1 lightning energy, and it does 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, of course, for those that don't actually know, if you actually have Voltaic attached and you do Quick Dive to the active Pokemon of your opponent, it will do 70 damage, not 50. So, something to bear in mind, might be useful. And then, of course, the attack, which is why we're here, is Giga Railgun for 260. If this Pokemon has no Voltaic lightning energy attached, this attack does nothing. Now, of course, we only play 4 copies, so, can be a little bit awkward if, of course, we're in the late stage of the game, we get hand disrupted, that sort of thing. But, that's unfortunately just what we have to deal with when it comes to this deck. Obviously, we are using a Grubbin from Temporal Forces in case we whiff some of our Ball Surge, because this has the attack Flock, which lets us grab up to 2 Grubbin and put them onto our bench, and then shuffle the deck. Pretty nice consistency, although it does rotate soon, so bear that in mind. Well, I say soon, we've still got a few months yet, but, in the grand scheme of things, this is the best Grubbin to play, because it is 70 HP as well. In terms of everything else, I have a 2-2 Tynamo Eelektrik line to help with energy acceleration. Obviously, we're not hugely focusing on the Eels, because we don't need to, but I also have a Zekrom here for the late game, which should be quite useful in this actual deck. Because obviously, most of the time, we want to obviously, play the game with Vikavolt. Well, Vikavolt, I should say. But, to be brutally honest, we do need a late-game attacker. And with, both Eels established, which is not difficult to do, Zekrom can come in the late game and do some insane damage. Because obviously, we can put Voltaic on him as well for a turn attach. Because we would need to turn attach if we had both Eels down. But if we can go, Air Balloon to the Eelektrik, attached for turn with Voltaic, and the opponent has taken 5 prize cards, Zekrom is doing 400 damage, which is kind of bonkers when you think about it. Other than that, really, there's not much else to really talk about, so let's get to the deck list, and let's have a proper look. And welcome to the deck list. This has been a pretty fun one to test, although there are a few flaws with it, which are quite difficult to, piece out, so to speak. So, the main thing that holds this deck back is, as you'll notice if you look at the Pokemon, we only have 7 basics. 7 basics out of 60 cards, which means we're going to mulligan quite a bit with this deck. And obviously, we do not want to start with the Zekrom. The Zekrom is here in terms of late game. But there's not really anything else we want to pair with this card. Because, like I said, this is very much an awkward card to work with. And the issue, of course, is we don't really want to be attaching our Voltaics anywhere else if we can avoid it, because obviously we need them on the Vikavolts. You could play a third Tynamo, is definitely an option, but obviously, as you'll see with our supporter line and everything, we are needing, quite a lot of pieces in this deck. So I suspect we're going to be mulliganing quite a lot today. So, of course, we have 4 Grubbins, 4 Charjabugs, 3 Vikavolts, 2 Tynamos, and 2 Eelektriks. Then, of course, 1 Zekrom. We have 4 Lillies, 2 Hilda, 2 Dawn, 2 Boss, 2 Hassel. It's the first time this card's making an appearance in this series. You can only use this card if one of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Look at the top 8 cards of your deck and put up to 3 of them into your hand. You don't have to reveal them to your opponent. And shuffle the rest back into the deck. Pretty good card to have in this deck. Then, of course, 4 Poké Pad, 4 Buddy Poffin, 3 Rare Candy, 2 Night Stretcher, 1 Sacred Ash, 1 Prime Catcher as our A spec, 2 Brave Bangles, 2 Air Balloons, 2 Gravity Mountain, which may seem counterintuitive because obviously we are playing stage 2 attacker. I mean, he's not surviving the turn, is he? So it just makes sense. It gives us an extra damage mod. then of course 7 lightning and 4 voltaic lightning energy. Like I said, my only concern, which is what I've had in testing a couple of times, is the fact that we're only playing 7 basics. We are going to mulligan quite a bit, but also there is a chance, a decent chance, we may start with Zekrom, which is bad for us, because it is a 2-prizer. Yes, we can recover it, but that puts us on the back foot immediately. Yeah, you know, we can go Voltaic to it, and then attach for turn with a regular lightning energy, do a slash for 70, with a boss on, like, Dreepy or something, but realistically, we do not want to be doing that. And that's probably the only thing that holds this list really back, other than the fact that, you know, Giga Railgun requires Voltaic lightning energy, which is why we're playing the Hildas, the Hassels, to try and locate them. But yeah, the only other thing that this list is really lacking is, like I said, basics, but also it's lacking anything else to really attack with. So that's why we're playing Candy at, you know, a higher count than what we normally would for a stage 2 sort of approach, that sort of thing. And that's really what holds this list back, unfortunately. Really what's holding this card back is the fact that, you know, you need a thick line of the bugs. You need a thick or a decent line of the eels. You need a Zekrom for the late game. But the problem is once you've added all those in, there's not really much you could really add in between. Because obviously we're going to get item lock most likely, which is what this deck will struggle with. So, you know, it's definitely something that we need to consider. We could go down to 2 Charjabugs and obviously open up the list a little bit more. Maybe go to a 3rd Tynamo, because this has free retreat, it's a good starter. You know, that sort of thing. But honestly, I've had fun with Vikavolt so far in testing, and I've only had a couple of test games with it. So, let's get in some games and see how we do. And welcome to our first game. Obviously, we're on casual as is normal for this series. I've been really enjoying making this series, and obviously, you know, making these decks and everything. Because, you know, it puts my deck building to the test, but also, you know, we get to, you know, just have the consistency of, you know, an upload that you normally wouldn't get. Because obviously I don't normally upload on a Tuesday. But honestly, ooh, that is a really bad start in hand. And it looks like they have a Cinderace start, because that's the only time you'd ever see this coming up. Because we're not in Expanded, so, you know. But yeah, this opening hand is kind of terrible, because we have no energy, we have nothing really. And it looks like he's going to take the Cinderace start, which is bad for us, because obviously it does do 50 damage and knocks out, you know, Tynamos and stuff. And it would knock out Grubbin, because he's fire weak. So, yeah, this opening hand is not looking good, to say the least. But again, this is another thing about the deck, you know. Aggro archetypes are going to eat this deck alive, and there's not much I can really do about it. Well, there's a Charjabug. Okay, well, we'll do this. We'll do this. I'll Poké Pad for another Tynamo. We have prized... Well, we haven't prized any eels at the very least. And I was going to, like, jokingly go retreat into Tynamo for the memes, but no. There's no reason to. Right, so Cinderace is kind of a problem, like I said, because it can just go, you know, Turbo Flare for 50, knock out a Tynamo. But, like I said, with this opening hand, this is really bad. Magnetic Metallungy, I think I know exactly what we're facing here, and that is really bad for us. We're facing Fossils, is what we're facing here, folks. Which means Bastiodon, because that's the only reason why you'd be playing that in your deck list. And he's just going to Turbo Flare. Okay. Well, I mean, if we get a Lillie, we might be able to do something here. No, that's a Poké Pad. Well, in that case then, because we don't really have a whole lot else going for us, I'm just going to grab a Grubbin. And we'll just evolve here, and he can have a Grubbin. Pass. That's all I can do. He's going to be a sacrifice, essentially, because obviously this is hitting for fire damage, this is fire weak, so, you know. We need something, to say the least. If he's going to keep bricking with his Cinderace, we could potentially punish it with, you know, a Lillie off the top, but, you know, even a Hassel might help us out, you know? Hassel might be able to help us out, so that's at least something. But at the minute, it's not looking very good for us, which is kind of bad. Tenacity, that actually helps us. Oh no, he's got the quarry first. Okay, that's bad then. I was kind of hoping he'd grab... Well, then again, it doesn't make sense to grab Grand Tree here. Skull and Armor Fossils, so we've got Rampardos to deal with. Oh boy. So that discards energy as well. And then he could Turbo Flare, take out the Grubbin, and then power this up, as well as potentially even this if he's playing Metal Energy. Like, not this energy, because you can't accelerate this from a Cinderace, but the regular Metal Energy. It's looking like this may be a concede, though. There's Turbo Flare. Down goes our poor little Grubbin. I was giving you the props, mate, but unfortunately the deck's just not decking. And yeah, he's going to put a Fighting Energy on Armor Fossil. That's fine. We need a miracle off the top, to say the least. Because otherwise it's going to be a concede. And that's not it, Chief. I will stall in Game 2. And welcome back to Game 2. I don't really have any words for that. We just completely bricked. We was top decking into Pokemon. We was not finding any supporters whatsoever. We just had nothing. And that's kind of a shame, really. But that's just how this archetype can go sometimes. And, yeah, like I said, because you have to play a thick line of the bugs, you kind of just bite yourself in the foot in a way. The reason why you have to play a thick line of the bugs is because, obviously, there's still item lock, even in casual, so you have to be so careful. And, of course, you're not always going to be able to find candy to do anything with it. So they're going first. That's fine. I'll start the Tynamo, but I'll put down the Grubbin. Because they might have like a burn strategy for all I know. One mulligan, and we've got a lot of... Well, we've got 2 judges in there, which is bad for us. We don't like hand disruption in this build. I'm guessing by the sleeves this is going to be a Grimmsnarl deck. It is. With Frostlass. Which... Is that beneficial for us? I mean, the Monkey Dories isn't, but it's never beneficial when it comes to a Monkey Dory. I'm just thinking here. It is actually helpful, especially with that top deck. So let's play the Buddy Poffin. We'll grab 2 Grubbins. So we've got both Eels in there. We've got a Vikavolt in the prize cards. So that's fine. We've got Hilda in the prize cards, which might be a concern. Candies are in there, and we've got no Lightning Energy in the prize cards. Good. That's what I like to see. So I'll attach to the Grubbin. I'll Voltaic the Grubbin. I'll then Poké Pad for a Tynamo, just so we have that set up. And I'll Lillie. I need to see as much as possible. Okay, that's not too bad. So I will do the funny play and retreat into a Tynamo. He's going to be like, what the hell did he do that for? Why not? You know, it's funny. But no, we might be able to do something next turn. If he gets a knockout on the Tynamo, we might be able to get to do something, which is good. We might. Depends on what he goes for. Because obviously he started an Impidimp, he needs to get another one established. But obviously, Vikavolt can take out a Grimmsnarl. It's just going to be very tricky to do so. Are you kidding me? You're going for a Badoo? See, this is exactly why we need to play a thick line of the bugs. Because this guy's bugging me. This bloody Badoo is bugging me. I mean, he could go for a Filch, but I very much doubt he will. Because he's attached to the Impidimp, retreat to the Badoo, and item lock us, which is exactly why we need what we need in this deck. We need a thick line of bugs, because we can't rely on Rare Candy. Alright. Let's see what we get. There's a Voltaic. So what I will do is I will split my attachments of Voltaic and our Lillie. We don't have any item cards to play in hand anyway. Ooh, that's kind of bad. We'll have to bench this Grubbin. And I have to leave this Tynamo because, well, then again, it doesn't matter because he might get Monkey Dory established. Because if he goes for Grimmsnarl, he can potentially take out both Eels, which is bad. Which is really bad. Not finding any Charjabugs as well is really annoying. And he's just going to go for an Itchy Pollen again. I might have to just attack with Charjabug. And just, yeah, there's Charjabug. I'm going to attack with Charjabug. It's my only option here. which sucks because it is got a Voltaic on it, but I don't really have much of a choice. I'll play Dawn. We'll grab Vikavolt and Charjabug. We can get the Eels later, we don't need to do it now. So I'm going to retreat into Charjabug and Static Shock for 80. It doesn't really matter which Charjabug you play in terms of this deck, it seems to be. I just chose this one because the attack could potentially be relevant. You know, Voltaic plus regular lightning doing 80. This is the one from Ascended Heroes, so it's like I said, it doesn't really matter which one you play. There is one that gets multiple Charjabug out, but you know, we have the Grubbin for that, so we don't really need to worry about that. And it looks like they're just giving me a Snorunt, which is fine. I'm happy to continue attacking with this Charjabug. I'm completely fine with this. So we're going to Air Balloon these two. I mean, I can evolve this, but then I'm not really benefiting. I'll attach to the Vikavolt and Lillie. That is a terrible Lillie. So yeah, Static Shock for 80. This is a Charjabug show, apparently. I mean, I'm not complaining, because, you know, we are taking prize cards, and we're not using our main attacker and putting that at risk. I mean, if he gives me a Monkey Dory, I will just railgun it, so I'm not really bothered, but, you know, that's the nice thing. The problem is, though, is that he's got 3 monkeys in play, which I do not like. I need to start taking out these monkeys. Because normally, I wouldn't give a Monkey Dory, but, well, we have very weak Pokemon, so I do need to give a monkeys. Pun intended, of course. So, can we take out Grimmsnarl? Well, if he evolves into Grimmsnarl and puts down a Frostlass, we can. We can. Where's Rare Candy? Does he have a Frostlass? Because if he does, it actually bites him in the foot. Hopefully he doesn't see what I'm thinking. If you know, like, you know, if you've been watching so far the video and you think you know what I'm planning here, you probably already know. I would also be able to do it with a Bangle if he puts down a Frostlass. And no, it's just going to Shadow Bullet, probably take out the Tynamo with a 20 damage on it. Yeah, that's fine. Right. So we can take out Grimmsnarl here, but it's going to cost us a lot. So we'll promote the Tynamo. We need to evolve this turn as well. There's Zekrom. We're going to need Zekrom later in the game. So I'm just going to play these Poffins out. Like I said, that was the worst Lillie we could have ever asked for. I'll go Grubbin attach. I'm not going to bend this Zekrom now, and I'll Lillie. Right, we have whiffed. That is really bad for us. Because like I say, he's just going to start Adrenabraiding across my entire board, which is really bad for us. I have another Charjabug, at the very least, but I'm just gonna have to gig a railgun for 310. That's my problem here. Like I say, if I'd have known I was not going to draw into a Gravity Mountain, I would have put a second Voltaic on this Vikavolt, but we are 10 short of the knockout. If you'd have put that Frostlass into play, we would have had a knockout, but unfortunately we do not. And now we've just awoken 3 Monkey Dory, which is the worst case scenario for us. Because like I say, he can take out the Eel, he can take out, you know, the Grubbin, he can even go for the Charjabug if he wants to, and it looks like he's going for the Charjabug. Oh, this is so bad. This is so bad, because like I say, he's healing 90 here, and he's focusing down the Charjabug, as he should. I mean, at least we got to try, but, you know, like I say, it was just too risky to put 2 Voltaic on this Vikavolt and go for the knockout. Yeah, I'm just going to scoop it up. That's so bad that we whiffed that. We just needed a Gravity Mountain or, you know, something like that, and we just didn't get it. You know, at that point, he's taken out both our attackers. We would need to rely on Rare Candy. And we'd also need to try and find, you know, something to, you know, make use of everything. That's so unfortunate, but Grimmsnarl's horrible anyway for most single prize decks. Let's go to a game 3. And welcome back to game 3. I'm really hoping we can get a win with this Vikavolt deck. It's got the potential to win. I know it does, but it just seems that, you know, we're hitting some really tough matchups, you know. We had the fossils. We've had Grimmsnarl, which is terrible, especially given that they had 3 monkeys established. You know, even if we managed to, you know, even if we went double attached with Voltaic onto the active, we probably wouldn't have, you know, survived the turn anyway, because, you know, Rare Candy Grimmsnarl is a thing. And he's making us go first, which with this hand, I'm not mad about, to be honest. I'm actually quite happy with that. But yeah, I'm hoping we can score at least 1 win today. That would be, you know, that's the main objective of these videos anyway. I do want at least 1 win with the respective deck. But, you know, I can't always guarantee that. So, we'll go... I don't want to put Air Balloon down. I will Poké Pad though, so now we can prize check. So I've got all the eels in there. I've got all of the... well, bar 1 Vikavolt, which is fine. The Zekrom's in deck as well, so that's good. We've got 1 Lillie in the prize cards. We've got a Rare Candy in hand, so that's fine. We've got our damage mods, and we've prized a Lightning Energy. So, for the purpose of this, I will just take another Grubbin. And then I'll attach Voltaic to the Grubbin and pass. Like I said, I'm just hoping for at least 1 win out of this deck today, because I'm not disappointed with the deck, I'm disappointed with the matchups we've had. It was a bit like the original version of the... what was it? Oh, what deck was it? It was Thievel. So I had the original Thievel build, which was Dipplin focused, and that was a failure. The moment I switched to the Seeking build, it was just infinitely better. And the thing is, with this build, you need to play at least 2 eels, because you need energy acceleration with basic lightning to actually do anything. But the good news is, if we find a damage mod, we can take out Kangaskhan, which is good. So that's at least something. Ultra Ball. I mean, I would suspect Darkrai judging by the sleeves, but I can't, you know... I can't obviously, like, say that without, you know, knowing, but... You know, he made us go first, so we didn't get to use Flock, but to be fair, we don't have to use Flock. I mean, we've got 3 set up, which is more than enough. There goes a Boss and a Meowth. So like I say, if he's playing Darkrai, oh, yeah, I'm very happy to see a Darkrai. I one-shot a Darkrai without damage mods, so... Well, I say damage without damage mods. I have Voltaic, but, you know. Is he going for the knockout with Darkrai already? Nah, there's no way you do that, right? Okay. Is he going for it? I mean, he can. But, you know, subjugating chains into the Darkrai. I don't mind waiting a turn, mate. Like, I don't mind. I should have probably attached to the bench, but it's fine, you know. I literally couldn't care less that he's doing this. He's got 2-3 prizes in play, which is all I need, you know. That's completely fine with me, Chief. It does mean we lose a thingamabob. The Hassel here is actually really good. I'm going to play Hassel. So we'll take Grubbin, Charjabug, Charjabug. Well, then again, I could take a Lightning Energy, actually. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we'll go Evolve. I'll attach to the Charjabug. I'll give him a Grubbin. I'd rather lose a Grubbin than the one Tynamo. I mean, like I say, he can do that, but I don't really care if he does, because, you know, one, you're making your Darkrai weaker, but also, oh, there we go, Lively Stadium, but even then, you're poisoned, so that offsets that. Are you seriously going to boss my Charjabug? Come on, man. I mean, we get a Lightning in the discard, but that just sucks so bad. Of course he has a bloody boss. I mean, like I said, we can still uptrade, but this is just annoying now, because I need more resources. we need Eel plus Voltaic plus Vikavolt, so this is going to get pretty tricky, to say the least. Well, there's Poké Pad, so that does get us a Vikavolt. So we can do that. I swear, this Darkrai player's had everything, man. Okay, well, we don't have a Voltaic Lightning Energy, that's the only issue. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I can bump his Stadium at the very least. I can then free retreat into this Tynamo. I can evolve this. Eel to the Vikavolt, and then I can attach elsewhere. And pass. Come on, this is one of our... This should be an easy matchup, but we're whiffing the Voltaics, like... Oh, this sucks so bad. This just sucks, like... There's nothing I can do, because like I say, he's just going to keep Dusk Raiding my boys. He's going to retreat the Darkrai. I think he's realised just how dangerous Giga Railgun is to him. Run Iron for 2. I ideally need something off the top here. There's Meowth. If he's going to judge me, I'm not mad about that. I'm actually accepting a judge here. Let's see what he does. But no, this has been a very bad start. He's got a boss. Okay. Well, you don't really have a reason to boss right now. But I'm guessing you're preparing that with the Darkrai for next turn. And yeah, he is. He's preparing it with Darkrai. Energy Switch. Are you seriously bossing now? There's no way you boss the Vikavolt, right? Because you don't do enough damage. You don't have any damage counters on your board. There's no way you boss here, right? Yeah, this has been quite unfortunate. But obviously, he can't take this out. But I need a Voltaic Lightning Energy now. Like, there's no question. But hopefully we can bounce back. Like, we don't need a lot to bounce back, but still. He's going to boss my Eel. I'm fine with that. Subject getting changed into the Darkrai. I'm fine with this. It just means we have to promote Tynamo, but I don't really care. The Eel has done its job for now. We just need a Voltaic Lightning Energy. That's all we need. And we can bonk this stupid Darkrai on the head. Because I must admit, I'm getting quite annoyed now. Okay, that's good. We just need Voltaic. There it is. It's time to smack this stupid freaking... this stupid Darkrai in the face, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm even going to Bangle just to assert dominance. So we'll free retreat into this. Giga Railgun 310. Take that in the face. You deserve that, you little bugger. There's another British word I would use there, but I'm not saying it on YouTube. Let's put it this way. If you know anyone who spams Delmise, you can call them a W anchor. Of course he had red card. That's fine though. But yes, anyone who you know that plays Delmise, hide and sneak, you can call them a W anchor. If you're young and watching this video, do not ask your parents that, is all I will say. But he can't leave this Kangaskhan in the active now. He has to give me one of the 2 prizes. Because if he doesn't, then he's buggered. He's going to give me the cat. That's fine. I'm happy to skin this cat. If I get boss Kangaskhan and we have game. I am so glad we're winning this. Potentially, anyway. There's no guarantee we do, but, you know. There's a Lillie. Excellent. So we'll play Poké Pad. Fin out a Vikavolt. I know I said I was going to originally refer to it as Vika, etc. Yeah, I don't care at this point because I'm that annoyed by this deck. So then we'll Voltaic you, Railgun 310. Getting that attachment there is so key. We can actually win this now. The only way, which would really get me annoyed, is if he had Enhanced Hammer and he targets the benched Pokemon here. He's got Blood Moon, but Blood Moon's not bulky enough, mate. Blood Moon isn't bulky enough. Blood Moon's bulky, but he's not that bulky. And if you attack with Darkrai, that's making my job even easier. Oh, this deck has annoyed me. Like this, he has no way to keep Dusk Raid going. He has no way to do Abyss Eye, as far as I've seen. You know, he's going into Blood Moon. Well, I have game then, because Blood Moon doesn't do enough. It can take out the Vikavolt, but I just come up with this one because I have a Voltaic attached. And if I get a boss off the top, you bet your ass I'm gusting this. But no, he can't win with Blood Moon. Unless he has, like, Lively Stadium, that could potentially throw a spanner in the works for us. He's got Legacy. It's a bit late for that. Janine. But he's already... Then again, no, he hasn't. He hasn't retreated yet. But then again, you have just shot yourself in the foot, because this is still a 3-prize Pokemon. So even if you attack with Blood Moon Pet, you just lose. And yeah, he's lost. I am so glad that he's lost. He was annoying me this whole game. But we get to bonk this Blood Moon Ursaluna on the head with a big fat 280. I will take that. That has annoyed me, but thankfully we was able to take the win with the Vikavolt. I am so happy we won that game. Out of all the games we've played today, that is the one I wanted to win the most. Let's just put it that way. That was a well-deserved win. He had the boss every time, you know, he was, you know, taken out very early with Dusk Raid, you know. That was just annoying, and obviously we was whiffing on occasion as well, so, you know, that match annoyed me, but thankfully we was able to pull through. It's a shame we didn't get to use Zekrom, but to be fair, we don't really need to in that matchup. We just need to focus on using Vikavolt and just nuking Darkrai's. So, what did I think to the deck? You know what? I actually had fun with this deck, bar that last game, because, you know, that was just annoying. I do think, though, that this card does belong in this series, because like I said, it is a case of, you know, it does have good damage mods. You know, you can play Gravity Mountain, which doesn't really bother you, because, you know, your Pokemon's likely going to respond KO'd anyway, so it's not a big deal in that regard. But obviously the issue is you need a certain energy type, which you only are allowed to play 4 of. You know, you need, you know, to find said special energy, which can be quite tricky at times. Then, of course, you need a basic lightning energy to go with that, so you need to play Eels, which, of course, requires the use of air balloons and things like that. And, of course, against any deck like, you know, Wellspring Mascogopon that happens to be in there, or even, you know, Clutch Yveltal, you're going to have a bad time, to say the least. And that's perfectly why this card belongs in this series. In terms of what I'd change, I would just want a thicker eel line, like a 3rd Tynamo, not a, like, you don't need 3 eels, I don't think. But honestly, out of all the games we needed, like we played today, I am so glad we won that one, because he had everything that he needed, even, like, early on. And it was just rather annoying. But, to be brutally honest, I'm happy with how this card did. You know, we wouldn't have won the Bastiodon game, because obviously Rampardos discards energy, and they'll just discard our, you know, our Voltaic Lightning energy, and then we'll never one-shot a well, we can one-shot a Rampardos, but it's very tricky to do so. But no, I'm pretty happy with how this deck did. You know, we faced some really tough matchups, and obviously we got to face a good matchup, but of course we didn't really get to do much in the good matchup until later towards the end. But no, I'm pretty happy with how this deck did, but ultimately it does end up in this series, sadly. There is actually one more card from Pitch Black, which does have its own deck for this series. But next up will be a card not from Pitch Black, because, well, I've done 3 in a row. I think, you know, I think it's time to change things up a bit. Anywho, I'm going to leave it all to it for today. I really hope you enjoyed seeing Vikavolt in action, and I'll see you next time.